The story of Mirror Park is often misunderstood. Some people mistakenly believe it resembles Glen Park, but they exist in entirely different universes. While many events in both games may play out the same way, the landscapes are completely different. But I understand why people make this mistake. I used to think the same way. You see, Glen Park is adjacent to a nearby Spanish neighborhood, which features an uphill community filled with Spanish gangs. This connection might lead some to assume that Mirror Park is home to the Ballas, while the uphill neighborhood, being Elborough Heights, once belonged to the Vagos. These two areas are completely distinct and have no real similarities. But shout out to Falls for his video, but you did miss a key detail. But Mirror Park is a suburban neighborhood located in East Vinewood, home to liberal hipsters, hooked on Bean Machine coffee, and surrounded by Sue Murray's endless advertisements. But Mirror Park wasn't always shaped by hipster culture. Its history runs deeper, a much more grim, dark, and violent culture. Mirror Park is believed to be based on Echo Park, which was once a stronghold for Spanish gangs. Groups like the Echo Park Locos, Crazies, Big Top Locos, Diamond Street Locos, Frogtown Reefa, and Headhunters were historically active in Echo Park, contributing to the area's reputation for gang activity in the 1980s and 1990s. But as violence increased, authorities sought solutions to curb the conflicts. In 2013, a permanent gang injunction established a safety zone around Echo Park. This restricted gang members from gathering in public spaces and enforcing stricter penalties for offenses. This move aimed to reduce violence and increase the community's safety as gentrification transformed the area. Gang members had to move out or behave. Using this, we can understand Mirror Park's background and explain how an area once dominated by Spanish communities eventually became filled with wealthy and middle-class residents. This explains a lot about the nearby gang activity in Elborough Heights, where the M7 gang, also known as Marabunta Grande, has carved out a solid presence. The gang is made up of Salvadorans, who likely settled in Los Santos during the late 1990s or early 2000s. M7 started as a small crew, but quickly earned a reputation as one of the city's most violent gangs by 2013. This bloody image helped the gang expand their reach, claiming control over several key areas around Los Santos. Their main territory covers the western part of Fudge Lane in Elborough Heights, with a nighttime presence in the southern stretch of Melanoma Street over in Vespucci Beach. They're also active in the Gran Senora Desert, handling various business operations, and can often be found in the East Vinewood Drain Canal at night. But by day, members are spotted around Mirror Park, though they're not there for the local shops, but for the underground drug trade that's thrived despite the area's facelift. Mirror Park has always had its share of drug-related issues, and recent gentrification efforts have pushed out much of the Spanish-speaking community to raise property values and clean up the neighborhood's image. This could also be considered redlining. Redlining is when banks and insurance companies refuse to give loans or services to people in certain neighborhoods, mostly because those neighborhoods have a lot of Black or Latino residents. They would draw red lines on maps to mark areas they thought were too risky to invest in. This made it hard for people in those areas to buy homes or get insurance, leading to poverty and problems that last for years. But while the original residents have mostly disappeared from the area, a few still remain, their presence and way of life no longer aligning with the neighborhood's polished and hipster vibe. Drugs, however, continue to be a powerful force within the area, pushing some political figures, likely being Sue Murray, to consider extreme measures like cocaine legalization as a way to control and endorse the rampant drug trade. Because of this, I believe gang members could have easily continued living here. But during the early stages of neighborhood redevelopment, authorities likely imposed gang injunctions on M7 members, trying to drive them back into Elborough Heights. Yet these measures barely scratch the surface. Even gangs from across town, like the Ballas, conduct business here, selling drugs to local hipsters and coordinating with larger criminal networks. The nearby highways make it ridiculously easy for the M7 gang to travel from county to county, running drugs for cartels and other larger criminal organizations. These routes allow them to avoid police involvement, as they can hide in numerous locations across the area. For example, they can lose the cops on the highways or take refuge in nearby warehouses, the countryside, or even through drainage canals that they use to traffic drugs. This setup gives them a huge operational advantage over other gangs in the city. However, their distinctive style, wearing oversized clothing, blue bandanas, and tattoos, serves as a form of intimidation. And unfortunately, it doesn't really disguise them when compared to the local American population, making it easier for law enforcement to recognize them. Recently, this has forced M7 to change their appearance in order to increase their profits. Despite these changes, M7 has maintained a tight grip on their territory. Even with fewer members, their aggressive tactics have solidified their control over key areas, keeping their presence strong across Los Santos, especially in the heart of Elborough Heights. Since 2013, Mirror Park has attempted to expand in hopes of becoming a beautiful, upscale Vinewood community. However, the nearby mountains, persistent gang activity, and a limited landmass have hindered this growth, placing the area in a precarious position. As a result, local property owners and construction workers have shied away from further development, making it slightly more affordable for the working class. Despite these efforts, Mirror Park feels culturally isolated from the rest of Los Santos, operating more like a small town than a neighborhood within a city. Over time, it has evolved into a place filled with radical ideas and hidden gang culture, creating a dangerous environment for the average citizen of Los Santos. But if you want to watch more stories like this, then go check out my next video or join the Discord to win prizes. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.